Matthew from Zero Chippenham again. So, you've taken the plunge, you've installed solar, you've got it on your rooftop like this. It's a gorgeous sunny day, as it has been for the whole month here in Chippenham. So the question is, what do you do with the electricity you generated? Sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? I mean, the days are getting longer at the moment, so as soon as the sun comes up in the morning, you start to generate, and that kind of follows a parabolic curve where you hit a peak in midday and then it drops down towards the end of the day. But what do you do if you're at work during the day? Well, the obvious thing is, firstly, if you've got a micro-generation certified installation, you can get paid for that excess solar that you're not using. So essentially, it just works by the laws of physics. Any electricity you generate goes through household loads first. So if you turn the kettle on, or you've got the dishwasher on or something like that, it will be supplied by solar power. But anything more than you're using will simply flow back out into the grid. And by the grid, I mean it will be to your neighbours, who typically, because we're on a three-phase system, it will be the neighbour who's a third house down. They'll be connected on the same phase as you, so you'll be very much supplying your neighbour with some nice green energy. And you can get paid for that. With the Smart Export Guarantee, which is the current payment system, you can get 15 pence per kilowatt hour. So that's a pretty good rate. It does vary, but for the last 2 years it's been pretty stable at that. So that's one thing. You can get paid for excess solar, build up credit on your account. And there are some people I know who have lots of solar, and essentially they're cost neutral throughout the year. They manage that so effectively. But what if you want to use that electricity? What are the other options? Well, I'm going to go down off of the roof now and explore some. So, the obvious thing that comes to mind is home battery storage, a battery energy storage system, a battery electrical storage system. Now, probably if you're having a solar installation, or you've had one in the last couple of years, you may well have a battery already built in. The typical route to this is to have a so-called hybrid inverter, so that your solar panels connect to it and also your battery connects to it. You have one inverter and that supplies your household. It also automatically charges the battery and then uses the battery electricity in the evenings or in the mornings when you're not at home. Well, you are at home rather, but it's not solar. So it stores the solar in the daytime when you're generating excess, charges the battery, and then discharges it later in the evening when you come home from work and you're making tea or whatever, putting the kettle on. So that's one option. And in fact, even if you're having solar installed now and you don't want to go for a battery, it possibly makes sense to go for the extra cost of a hybrid inverter, because that will then make you battery ready. The costs of batteries have come down hugely in the last few years. So this is a battery I actually fitted myself together with our solar system, and I fitted it under advice and in conjunction with our installation partners in Corsham, largely because I wanted to go through the process. So I've got a micro inverter solar system up on the roof. You can see there every solar panel has behind it a very small micro inverter, and they all connect together in series, and then there's a little hub up there called Enlighten, and that connects via Wi-Fi and allows us to know exactly what's going on. This battery is a completely standalone installation. It's a so-called AC battery. In my case, it's made by a company called Alpha ESS. It's a 5 kilowatt hour battery, and an AC battery is really just a battery, which is this bottom part here, and an inverter with the fins you can see at the top. And the batteries are DC, and the inverter converts it to AC and synchronizes it with your household mains supply. And then there's a couple of other things like an isolator, so you can turn things off. I've had this installed now for 3 years. It's absolutely brilliant. So if you had a solar system installed about, I don't know, 5-10 years ago maybe, and you didn't have a battery because the technology just wasn't there then, and you have the old feed-in tariff, then it might make sense to retrofit an AC battery. It won't mess up your existing feed-in tariff, which is important to a lot of people, but it allows you to store the excess solar that you're generating. One of the things I found pretty much straight away from having a battery is that they're actually a lot more dynamic than I really thought about. What I mean by that is, supposing it's sunny at the moment, and then a cloud passes over, and suddenly your solar generation drops below your household load, because maybe you've got the kettle on or something, the battery switches in instantaneously really to take out that dip. So it's actually constantly kind of running and smoothing out the, if you like, the dips in solar, because we do have clouds in the UK, surprisingly not. You might not think so at the moment. So it's actually incredibly dynamic, and I've been very impressed with how well it works. Now, because I don't get an export payment, I try to optimize every bit of solar I generate. So obviously in the winter we don't generate much solar. In the summer we generate lots of solar. So what I do is I used a smart home device, which I'll show in a second, called Home Assistant, and I use a free service to predict the next day's solar forecast. It's a bit like a weather forecast app, but for solar panel generation. And then if it's going to be a fantastically sunny day with lots of solar generation, at night, when I get a low cost rate, because I'm on the Intelligent Octopus Go tariff, I in the summer only charge the battery to about 30%, say, and that's just enough to take out the morning period when we make the toast and make the coffee or whatever, before solar generation kicks in. If it's going to be a very, very cloudy day, or it's the middle of winter, then I charge the battery to 100% at night, and this is all automated, so that I can maximize that 7 pence a kilowatt hour rate at night, and utilize it during the day. And some people even take this a lot further. Some people actually use their batteries to buy and charge the batteries at cheap rate at night at 7p a kilowatt hour, and then they discharge them in the day and get paid for exporting electricity to the grid. Personally, I don't do that, and it does add it removes the number of life cycles your battery has. They do have a finite life, so I haven't taken that route, but a lot of people do, and they say that they're actually, their electricity bills are negative for most of the, when balanced across the whole year. So yeah, that's home battery storage, another option. So this is our Zappi My Energy EV charger, and if you look at this at the moment, it's generating 1.8 kilowatts of solar, and we're exporting 1.2 kilowatts to the grid. So seems a good time to try and charge the car. So all I have to do, plug the car in like so. You'll see the Zap is now changed to waiting for surplus. It's got surplus. It's doing a little countdown there, 14, 13 seconds, 12 seconds, just to make sure there's still plenty of surplus electricity being generated by the solar. And there's going to be a click any second now, waiting for EV. There we go, doing a quick check, and now we're charging the car from solar. So this is fantastic. So this is another way of using up excess solar energy. You can charge your electric vehicle. So another option for excess solar is heating hot water. Now you might have an older style hot water tank with an immersion heater, and a great device for heating hot water there is the My Energy Eddy. It's a partner product to the My Energy Zappi. I'm not paid by My Energy, but a lot of people use it. It's considered a very good product. And what that does is it monitors the excess solar, and if you're exporting solar, it can use it to heat your hot water via the immersion heater. Now, though I do have an immersion heater in this tank, this is actually a tank for a heat pump. We have a Octopus stored Daikin heat pump. So mostly the hot water is heated using the heat pump because it's far more efficient. It's 3 to 5 times more efficient to use a heat pump, which gives you sort of 1 kilowatt of electricity, or solar will produce 3 to 4 kilowatts of heat. Whereas with an immersion heater, it's direct heating, so 1 kilowatt of electricity or solar produces 1 kilowatt of heat. So I've taken a slightly different option, and I use a Home Assistant, which is a smart home, free open source smart home device. And if I detect that we're exporting excess solar, and we've done so for more than a couple of minutes, then I switch on the heat pump for half an hour to heat up the hot water. And the great advantage of this, of course, is that my son, who loves his lovely hot bath, gets free heating, and it means that we have very low energy costs during the sort of summer 6 months. So just April just gone, when it's been incredibly sunny, unusually sunny, has to be said, sunnier than the last 3 years, paid just £40 in order to charge our car, whole home energy costs, hot water, the whole lot. So yeah, that's a fantastic route to using excess solar. This little device here is the brains of our house. It's called Home Assistant. Now Home Assistant is a freely available open source software package that you can download, and you can run it on an old laptop to try it. You can run it on an old Raspberry Pi computer. But this is called Home Assistant Green, so you can actually buy hardware for about £89, £80, which has Home Assistant pre-installed. Now, the idea of Home Assistant is it kind of integrates all of those little bits of software and smart devices around your house, and it runs locally. So you don't have to expose it to the internet. It does it the best it can to detect things locally. You do have to be a little bit of a tinkerer. I'd say it's not for everyone, but you don't have to be a software engineer either. So if you enjoy, let's say, playing around a bit, trying to automate your home, then Home Assistant is, for me, definitely the way to go, because it's open source, not tied to a huge company, and it's maintained. It's got a huge installer base across the world, actually, and just a bit like WordPress and things like that, you know, it has a life of its own. Okay, thank you. Now, one of the ways I use excess solar is through our dishwasher and Home Assistant. So what I have is I have a smart button here. So this is just connects to Home Assistant by Wi-Fi. The button costs about £6, I think, to buy from a company called Pimeroni. And I've got a little automation set up so that with a timer plug, well, not a timer plug, a Wi-Fi plug that's behind the dishwasher, that's plugged into, so I can close the dishwasher, press the button, and then it will either start at 11:30 at night when I've got low cost electricity, or if we're exporting solar, it will switch the dishwasher on then to make use of that solar to run the dishwasher. So that's just another way of using excess solar power. Now, another way of using excess solar is washing machine. I don't have any particular smart devices in use on this. I'm just using the time delay function on the washing machine. And we do this two ways. Either we set the end time such that it might end in the middle of the night, so that we're using the low cost Intelligent Octopus Go electricity at 7p per kilowatt hour, or you could put it on in the morning knowing that you're going to get solar generation at lunchtime, and you know, just delay it to the end point to sort of end when you've got maximum solar generation. So you can, it's called load shifting really, but it's not rocket science. It's just trying to make the most of when you might have solar renewable electricity available, and this is going to happen more and more and more as we build out more renewables. But you can do it at local level, really. It's the it's very exciting. I think it's the Internet of Energy, I've heard it called.